Hello, thank you for taking a moment to watch this video, and on this particular training we're going to continue our setup or training on how to get call recordings out of FoamBurner in real time over to Zapier and then over to another system so those audio files can be analyzed. And so far we've created the trigger, the catch hook, to get the data out of FoamBurner. We added a delay to ensure that the call recording has been fully processed on the FoamBurner system before we move on. And so now we're going to go ahead and add another step. And on this specific step, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding another webhook step. So we're going to choose webhooks by Zapier. But why are we choosing webhook as an additional step, right? We already captured the call information with our trigger step that was a webhook. We need to do another webhook step in here because once that call recording is processed, the URL, if we jump over here, this URL that's created is not actually the URL that our external system like GONG is going to need to fetch the recording. So if we go here, you'll see that when I visit that, the URL actually changes. So we need to get the final URL, not the pretty URL that is sent over in the step 1 of the Zap. So that's what we're doing with step 3. We're going to go ahead and hit the URL that just came in step 1 to get the final URL. And how are we going to do that, right? So the first thing we need to do is we need to set the event type. This is going to be a custom request. I'm going to go ahead and continue. And the method is going to be a get. And the URL, this is where we're going to take the URL from step number 1. We're going to grab the public recording URL. Where are you at? Where are you at? There it is. Recording URL public. We want this full URL right there. Data pass through. We're going to set that to false. I'm not going to put anything in the data section. Unflatten, we're going to leave that set to yes. Basic auth, we don't need any authentication because that's a public URL. And we don't need any headers, so we're going to go ahead and hit continue. And we're going to go ahead and test and review. Now I do want to point out that it's not giving us an actual URL. It's not actually giving us the file. What it's telling us is that it did capture that there's a file there. It went to that URL and it has received that file. So this is a good thing, what we've got here. So that's it for this specific step. We're actually going to, I don't even know what the best term for this is. Maybe it's normalize the URL or get the final URL, get the final file location, whatever we want to call that. But that's what this step is about, is we're actually taking the public pretty URL that's included in the step 1 where FoamBurner sends that to Zapier, and then we're going to get that final endpoint. So anyway, that's it for this specific training. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to move on to the next step.